MultiAsian.Church, Chapter 2, Religious Roots of Asian Americans. Asian Americans have a wide diversity of cultures, languages, and mix of religious faiths and practices. When looking at the religious context of Asian Americans, those that share the immigrant journey have experienced going from an Asian society where Christianity is a minority religion to the Western society where Christianity is a majority religion. For immigrants that are relocating from Asia to America, religion can be a very helpful resource in absorbing the culture shock and getting acclimated to a new country. For some Asian Americans, this occasion may prompt them to rediscover their family's religious faith. For others, there's an openness to exploring Christianity because of the cultural familiarity in an ethnic Asian church. In recent years, there have been a growth in academic works related to the sociology of religion. There are also a whole line of academic studies for comparative religion. So for such study, I will refer you to other experts for a more in-depth analysis about theological differences and nuances of Asian religions. These three titles are among the best-selling books about comparative religions. The World's Religions by Houston Smith, 2009. God is Not One, The 8 Rival Religions That Run the World, 2011, by Stephen Prothero. And 9 Theories of Religion, published in 2014, authored by Daniel Pals. This chapter will focus on how churches and pastors can be more effective in ministering to Asian American immigrants with other religious backgrounds. My observations, remarks, and suggestions will draw from my research and my life experiences of working with Asian American churches. This book will also make extensive references to 2 reports published by Pew Research Center, The Rise of Asian Americans and Asian Americans, A Mosaic of Faiths. This is the largest research project to date that summarizes the socioeconomic and lifestyle characteristics of the Asian American population using census data and surveys. Scholars and advocates for Asian American communities have raised serious concerns for the report's broad overgeneralization and how their summaries misrepresent the very diverse Asian American population, both the tendency of reinforcing model minority stereotypes and overshadowing the needs of Asian American minorities. Recognizing the limitations and the shortcomings of these reports, the research data still does provide a useful point of reference. Popular religions in Asia. Using the previously introduced framework of 3 major regional groupings of Asians, East Asians, Southeast Asians, and South Asians, here are the commonly acknowledged ideologies, philosophies, and metaphysics that have influenced the faiths, religions, and spiritualities commonly practiced traditionally by a majority of people in Asia. The East Asian culture has been strongly influenced by the syncretic blend of Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism, together known as the 3 teachings in Chinese philosophy. Duly noted that Taoism and Confucianism are more philosophies than religions, while some experts say that Buddhism is more of a way of life than a religion. Some religions are more specific to a country. Korea has shamanism, Japan has Shinto, and China has folk religions characterized by veneration of ancestors, spirits, and deities. Wanda M. L. Lee describes the influence of the 3 teachings. Many Asian cultures are influenced by the philosophies of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism. Among the values that appear common to many Asian cultures are those of harmony, humility, and respect for family, authority, and tradition. Southeast Asians have influences from many major religions, including Buddhism, animism, Catholicism, Islam, Confucianism, and Hinduism. Specific religions have been strongly influenced in certain countries, for instance, Islam in Indonesia and Malaysia, Catholicism in the Philippines, Buddhism in Thailand, and Myanmar. Vietnam's most popular religion is Buddhism, with the influence of the three teachings from East Asia. As for South Asians, a majority practice Hinduism, around 61%, and about 32% practice Islam. Sikhism, Buddhism, and Christianity comprise a small minority that together total less than 10%. This table shows the religious affiliations of each Asian country in Asia as reported in the CIA World Factbook. As shown above, in most Asian countries, Christianity is a minority religion. It is a common perception that when the majority of people in a country profess faith in a particular religion, that the country becomes closely associated with the religion. For example, Thailand is known as a Buddhist country. In a similar way, America is commonly known as a Christian nation, or at least strongly influenced by Judeo-Christian values, though that perception is eroding as American society has become much more pluralistic with immigration from many parts of the world and more progressive in its social values. Nevertheless, as millions of Asians have immigrated to America, their exposure and receptivity to Christianity is greatly increased because the United States is a majority Christian country. Compare and contrast the religious affiliation data in Asia with these in North America. To get an overview of the Gospel's receptivity in Asia, I aggregated the population for the three regional groupings along with its percentage of Christians. East Asians have a total population of 1.6 billion, with around 5% Christian, which is about 89 million. Southeast Asians have a total population of 634 million, with about 20% Christian, which is 130 million Christians. South Asians have a total population of 1.7 billion, with 1.8% Christian, which calculates to 31 million Christians. Looking at these numbers instead of just percentages is staggering. Did you know that there are more Southeast Asians who are Christians than East Asians? Note that this Christian population includes both Catholics and Protestants. And the 5 Asian countries with the most Christians are Philippines with 91 million, China with 69 million, India with 28 million, Indonesia with 25 million, and South Korea 15 million. It's encouraging to see that faithful followers of Christ have spread the gospel throughout parts of Asia, and the response in some Asian countries have resulted in millions of Christians. While I can't go into details on every country's history of how they were first introduced to the gospel, I do encourage you to study the history of Christianity for the specific countries that you're most interested in. 2 countries with the largest proportion of Christians are the Philippines, 90%, and South Korea, 31%. The Philippines is proud to be the only Christian nation in Asia, according to an Asia Society article that goes on to describe the impact of Catholicism. The result of 400 years of Catholicism were mixed, ranging from a deep theological understanding by the educated elite to a more superficial understanding by the rural and urban masses. The latter is commonly referred to as Filipino folk Christianity, combining a surface veneer of Christian monotheism and dogma with indigenous animism. South Korea Christianity is noteworthy for its missionary zeal and its very large churches. 5 of the world's largest churches are in South Korea. This Christian heritage has also carried over by Korean immigrants into the United States. Currently, Korean American churches are the most numerous amongst Asian American churches. More details in the next chapter. This excerpt from The Spirit Moves West, Korean Missionaries in America, by Rebecca Y. Kim summarizes the significance of Christianity for South Koreans. The impressive growth of Christianity is partly due to Koreans' response to drastic social transformation. Koreans became identity and community seekers, and the Christian faith and community were there to fill the void. It mattered for the growth of the Korean Protestant Church that the Protestant faith came to the Korean people at moments of tremendous crisis and change as a religion of modernity and power sans the heavy baggage of Western colonialism. On a per capita basis, South Korea sends out the most missionaries in the world. In 2011, there were approximately 20,000 Korean missionaries working in countries outside of South Korea. A century after the advent of American missionary activity in Korea, South Korea has become a major missionary sending nation. The third Asian country to pay attention to is China. The growth of Christianity in China is rapidly accelerating, estimated at 68 million in 2010, and projected to reach 160 million by 2025, and will make China the largest Christian nation in the world, according to Professor Peng Yang, author of Religion in China, Survival and Revival Under Communist Rule. In the next chapter, we will take a closer look at the religious faiths of Asian Americans and how Asian American Christianity has taken shape in the U.S.